And welcome to Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK. Here on the program today, we are joined by our real estate expert, Joan Ball from Royal LePage, Triland Realty. You can reach Joan, 519-672-9880. That's 519-672-9880. And the website, joanball.com. We welcome Joan to the program. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Ryan. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. It's always great to hear your voice. And how many of these shows have you done over the years, Joan? Don't you answer. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I have files and files and files.
Do you really?
I have copies of programs set up and, the Real Estate Matters that we do during the day.
Yeah.
Tape. So, wow. I've got lots and lots of subject matter over the years we've gone through.
Awesome. That is amazing. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts. Now, one thing, we've got a lot to talk about today, Joan, but one thing that you used to mention over the years was that London was a balanced market, and we know that it's not necessarily balanced anymore. Do you foresee us ever getting back into a balanced market here in this area?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that you have to recognize that in the 70s we had a crazy market and prices went up, and then we entered into a recession, and that balanced the market.
Okay.
And then in the late 80s, the market again was very crazy, and into the early 90s, it became a balanced market, and then mid-90s, it actually became a buyer's market. And right now, we have some things that are impacting the local market, definitely. However, I think the reality might be that interest rates are expected to blip up. I don't think they're going to go up significantly, but they may go up a bit, and that may either rush people to the market or get people thinking, you know what, if I'm going to downsize, I better do it now. Or if I'm going to make a move, I better do it now. So I do expect that this year we'll see more product come on the market. We have a great immigration policy in Canada, and that is driving the need for new startups, for rental accommodations for individuals moving to Canada because they want housing. And they don't take that many years before they start flipping over into home ownership. So that is what's driving our industry, and the demand is certainly there. So be on guard. I think interest rates will be announced and raised shortly, and that will have some impact. However, we've got a long way to go to get to a balanced market.
Got it. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290. CJBK, and you can reach Joan, 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. And when you talk interest rates, Joan, it reminds me of one of your Real Estate Matters programs that runs during the week here on this station. And you talk about when you first bought your home, your first home, and the interest rates, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you say it was 12%?
That's correct. Yeah, you've got a good memory. Way back, and that was in the early 80s. I think that was 1980, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And, the interest rates were crazy. I mean, you think about that,
I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, we aren't probably going to ever go back there. I don't see, our banking system is set up a bit differently. We won't see the 21% that happened as well. That was devastating for so many people who literally had to walk away from their properties back then. So, now I think we've got historical lows on interest rates. People have been able to really concentrate on paying down a lot of the equity and build the equity and paying down the principal on their mortgages, and that's put us in a very comfortable position for a lot of individuals. However, the concern right now is the buyers, and especially the first-time home buyers and those who are trying to get into the market, and how best to assist them so that they can recognize their dream of home ownership as well.
Absolutely. And what is it, Joan, bring back some memory here for me. For a down payment for a first-time home buyer, what does that stand at these days? Typically?
Well, they can certainly do 5%.
Okay.
I always recommend if you can do the up to 20%, then you're not considered a high ratio mortgage. You're considered a conventional mortgage, and therefore you don't have to have the fees, the Canada Mortgage and Housing fees, the insurance fees, for that amount between 5% and 20%. So at 20% down, you are considered a conventional mortgage. So you can still do it with 5% down. I think the hurdle for many buyers right now is the process. And the process is very rushed. It really does not allow for individuals in a competing situation to include conditions in their offer. And that's quite concerning for people who are first-time homebuyers. And, the bank says, well, you really have to have a financing condition in your offer. Well, unfortunately, that's, you got to do all your homework and make sure that your communication with your financial institution is as complete as possible so that individual gets to know you and gets to know how secure a certain purchase might be. And really be very frank and very honest about all your debts, all your documentation, get that in, get a pre-approval so that you can go in as clean and neat as possible. But there is a bit of a risk factor for some people, especially if they're not doing home inspections.
Right.
Now, in some cases, you can do a pre-offer inspection. You have to have the seller's permission to bring a home inspection into the property. When I list a property, when we're going to allow that to occur, we usually request that they do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night so it doesn't interfere with the other showings. We do have properties, however. I just was talking to an agent yesterday. He had 130 showings in 7 days.
Wow.
And his property, it was listed sort of upper threes, so 380-ish, and sold for 581. So how do you even estimate or guesstimate that? So there's some pricing that's going on right now that's just out of this world. And certainly December we saw 85% of sales contracts went for over list price by an average of $89,000.
Unbelievable. And also, I think in one of your real estate matters, Joan, did you say that it would be oftentimes some of the lower priced homes that are on the market will get a bigger increase over asking price?
Yeah, I don't know if I said it in the real estate matters, but this is something that I've noticed in the last couple of months, that some of the sort of entry-level housing, as I'll call it, sort of anything under $600,000. That sometimes, in some situations, because there's so many more buyers at that price range, it's driving the prices percentage-wise higher. So it's really quite significant to review all the research, all the data, and be as prepared as possible. But at the end of the day, we don't have a crystal ball, no pun intended, but we don't have the ability to know what the other offers are or where you need to go. And in some cases, I may actually say to a client, here's where I can justify it, but if you're going north of there, it's because you really want it. I can't tell you that it's worth that. I just don't know. However, you do what you're comfortable with, and it has to be the buyer's choice at the end of the day.
Great advice. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts, our real estate expert from Royal LePage Triland Realty. You can reach Joan at 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. And just quickly to go back to, Joan, when you mentioned the home that was upper threes and on the market for 5 to 7 days thereabouts, and 130 viewings, that as well just blows my mind. That seems like a huge number.
Well, I used to schedule an hour in between each show. I'd sort of schedule, say I had 5 properties to show.
Right.
And I'd give myself an hour spread because I had travel time too. And so I had to know that I was going to be able to be at this specific house within this time frame, and then I'd go to the next house within this time frame. And I used to be able to do that. And then a couple of years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, we broke it down to about a half-hour allowance for each showing. Now I get 15 minutes in the property to review the property, and then the next buyer and their agent is there. And it's very specific. You have to be there within your 15-minute window. So quite honestly, now it's sort of individual showings because there's just such a lack of product on the market. I think when we were reviewing the end of December, we were reviewing how many single-family homes were on the market in London, where traditionally we would have somewhere at the end of December, say 1,500, something like that. We had 79 properties on the market.
Unreal.
So just take that into consideration, that we have more buyers right now. It just is such a shortage, and that is what is driving things. And yes, I agree with many who are saying, it's not fair to the buyers, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, we need more property on the market. We need more properties to sell, and they will sell, and they will get a good response. But right now, when you have 30 offers on a given property and it goes 150,000 or 200,000 over list price, you kind of go, what the heck's going on here?
No kidding. And what is your thought on the lack of supply, Joan? What's the reasoning behind that right now?
I think it really is about supply. I think that there's individuals coming to this country, coming to this city, first-time home buyers stepping into the market, and there's nothing available for them to buy. And so when individuals think about moving themselves, because there's a good, healthy resale market and always has been, there are not the new properties for individuals to say, I don't want to compete. I just want to go buy and build a new one and work with a builder. The builders are telling you, that they don't have enough ability to produce the properties, the new startups, to the degree. It's not a short-term solution, but it is something that we need to pay attention to, need to recognize, and maybe even streamline some of the approval processes so that we can get that ball rolling a little faster.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts from Royal LePage Triland Realty, our real estate expert. And you can reach Joan at 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. Are you still on the London St. Thomas Association of Realtors, Joan?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I'm just coming into my second year as a director, and learning a lot. Our board here in London, we are so fortunate. They're exceptional staff, exceptional CEO, and the board component, the board of directors itself it's fun. We get down to business and some serious business, and we have a huge budget, and we are doing as much as we can to help our membership be able to service the London and St. Thomas and regional clients. It really has been a very worthwhile process for me.
Awesome. I love that enthusiasm. And you also do a lot of great work for lots of organizations here in the community as well to help out. So we tip our hats. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts, Royal LePage Triland Realty, 519-672-9880. We're back with more right after these. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK, our real estate expert, our long time real estate expert from Royal LePage Triland Realty, 672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. Touched a bit about some of the trends these days, Joan. Any other ones you want to touch on here?
I think that if anything, the individuals that I'm speaking with, some of them are prepared and have done some homework, and I really try and help them with that so that they feel like they're making an educated decision. I think it's still important not to react, but to respond to the market and cross all your T's and dot all your I's. Perhaps know the lawyer you're going to use. Definitely have a conversation with your financial institution or a mortgage broker, and maybe even more than one, just to get a better sense of things. Get prepared, plan, and get to know the market. Watch the market. Pay attention to the trends. And there certainly are some trends out there. So just align yourself as early as possible with a specific realtor that you feel comfortable with, and you feel will represent your real estate needs, and then proceed. But as much as it's difficult not to get caught up in the frenzy, try to just step back a bit and be a little bit objective. And then at the end of the day, you'll get a better sense. I do find, what's interesting is I find that specific buyers that I've been dealing with, it's almost like they have to lose a few properties before they really recognize how this current market is working. And, when they lose one or two and they really wanted that house, it sort of gives them a different sense of it. But again, it has to be something that you're comfortable with, can live with, and regardless of the interest rates down the road, you're going to not be house poor, but feel comfortable that your investment is solid.
Given this tight market, it must be when people do win, when they bid on a home, Joan, or their bid is accepted, it must be like elation, so much excitement when they get that call saying, hey, the house is yours.
Yeah, it really is. In some cases, you certainly want to be solid with that. You want to know that, okay, that is the comfort. And I always tell people, especially if they're competing, what your offer needs to reflect is your sort of comfort, but don't step over that. If you're not comfortable going an extra $50,000, don't. If you're not comfortable going an extra 20, don't. You may have to readjust your assessment of what you're looking for. And there's a few clients where we've had to do that, and look at, maybe we're not looking at single family. Maybe we're looking at semi-detached. Maybe we're looking at condo townhouses. It may be something where you're just having to adjust what your process is. And I do like people to recognize, when I was first in the market, I first got married. I couldn't buy a house. We didn't have enough money then. There was no way. We had to save. And at that point, it seemed like such a stretch. And we were in our late 20s when we bought our first house. And, it was considered a starter home. And that's what we bought. We bought a starter home, and then we bought a little bit bigger home after a few years, and being able to pay off some of the, and build up some of the equity and pay off some of the mortgage. So that hasn't changed. So there are some individuals that have to recognize that maybe it is a starter home. Maybe it is something that I have to look at, that I can put some sweat equity into and build up towards the house that I really want eventually.
Absolutely. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK, and can't help but think, while you're describing your scenario going back a few years, Joan, whereas now I wonder, do people want the big and brightest and best right away sometimes? Do you come across that?
Yeah, well, I think that, our income bracket for some of the people who might be first-time home buyers may have adjusted a bit. And, we still have lifestyles that we've been enjoying and all of that stuff. So, it's there are some challenges right now. I do expect that maybe there'll be some adjustments within the market due to interest rates being increased a bit and some other things that may come down from the government. So, just recognize that, yes, homeownership is important, and the more information you can gather about the process, the more it will assist you in assessing what's a best fit for you.
Joan Ball on Ask the Experts from Royal LePage, Triland Realty, 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. You touched on the interest rates and expecting them to shift up a little bit here, Joan, into the future. 2022, and I can't believe we're already at, January the 22nd, 2022 here on this Saturday. Other thoughts about the year ahead? Anything that kind of stands out?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a continuation of the renovation industry. I think, products, it really remains to be seen as far as our supply end of things. That has really put a bit of a damper on some of the renovators and some of the renovations and builders, quite frankly, So we need to loosen up that. We certainly need government support to be able to access the products, to build up the supply, to meet the demand. And so that, I think, is going to be the big push this year. If anything, we need to be able to pull that back in line and meet the needs that are out there.
Joan Ball on Ask the Experts from Royal LePage, Triland Realty, joanball.com, the phone number 519-672-9880. Back with more on Ask the Experts right after these. And welcome back to Ask the Experts here on Newstalk 1290 CJBK with our real estate expert, Joan Ball from Royal LePage, Triland Realty, 519-672-9880. That's 519-672-9880. joanball.com, the website address. As I've always said, lots of great information on that website, whether you're buying or selling a home. You can get the information you need at joanball.com. And if people want to get more information, Joan, and they call your number and they're thinking about selling their home, some of the conversation points that you'd be going through to kind of get a feel for the potential client?
Well, I think some of the basics are still there, no matter what kind of market it is. Clear the clutter, prepare the property. I do have often said that my model is very front-end loaded. We do a lot of work before we go onto the market, and then it sort of helps take care of itself to some degree. There's no doubt about it. You need to look at presenting the property in its best light. If there are little nicks and things that need to be fixed up, do those, because quite honestly, yes, you might get multiple offers, but don't leave any money on the table. I have some clients right now that are in downsizing situations and really adjusting for their final property. And, they're really honoring themselves in that way and doing what they need to do and addressing those little areas. And I do think there has been recognition of that return on investment when you do that. Photographs, I use a professional photographer. Do a floor plan. Have your agent do a floor plan. I think that's important. Provide as much information as possible to the potential buyers on utility costs and any other information about the neighborhood to try and really attract quality buyers and the buyers that are going to respond in the way that you want to, which is bottom line, the dollar value.
Absolutely. So interesting. So you would suggest that a person that is selling their home put an information packet on the kitchen table or something, just kind of, it's an added incentive?
Yes, we do all the time, because I want to provide a floor plan. I want to be able to give the buyers information on what the utility costs would be to really round out how their budget's going to work. I want to provide information about the neighborhood if I know some specifics about events they put on. There's a lot of Facebook neighborhood pages, too. You can find out about your neighborhood by just getting onto those, and they'll update you a fair bit on, and you can go in there and just even ask questions like, are there summer barbecue barbecues, or is there a rink in the area, or what are the events that occur in this neighborhood, if there are anything, or what can I look forward to? What's the crime rate like? That kind of thing.
Excellent. Joan Ball, always providing great advice here on Ask the Experts, and every time she's out and about and dealing with clients. And you can be one of those clients by calling Joan at 519-672-9880, Royal LePage Triland Realty, and go to the website joanball.com. I have said this many times over the years, Joan, whenever we talk, it goes by very quick. And once again, I appreciate you taking the time and providing us with great information. You always do such a great job. Thank you, Joan, and you have yourself a great day.
You as well, Ryan. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Joan Ball, our real estate expert from Royal LePage Triland Realty. JoanBall.com, and the phone number, don't forget it, 519-672-9880. We have more Ask the Experts coming up after these.